Good morning, everyone. This is one of those days where I've been awake since way before the sun. Allie is taking her state boards today to become a licensed cosmetologist. So we had to drive through all the rain and the traffic before the sun was even up to get her there in time. Starts really early in the morning. And now, I'm turned loose. I'm up here in Pasadena. The only thing is, I just have one question. Do you guys know where I can find 1640 Riverside Drive? Oh, there it is! What can I say? I can't help myself. I love Back to the Future, and every time that I'm up here in Pasadena, I have to stop and see the Gamble House. The David B. Gamble House, built for the guy from Procter & Gamble, you know, the company. It's one of the ultimate landmarks for California craftsman-style architecture. Actually, I'm not sure if it's California craftsman or just regular craftsman, because there's a lot of types of craftsmen and I get confused. All I know is this place is one fine piece of work. But as impressive as all this fine architecture is, these fine woods and this fine glass and all the details and craftsmanship, no pun intended, as amazing as all that stuff is, this place will always be most famous to me as Doc Brown's mansion from Back to the Future. We've been here a lot of times together, and we're gonna come a lot more times probably in the future. But if you don't recognize the house, this is the house from Back to the Future Part 1. This is where Marty first tells Doc that he's from the future, and Doc comes running down this hill into the garage, screaming about Ronald Reagan. I suppose Jane Wyman is the First Lady, and Jack Benny is the Secretary of the Treasury. Then he runs into the garage, slams the door in Michael J. Fox's face, and then Marty McFly is banging on this very door, explaining to Doc how he had just come up with the idea for the flux capacitor. This is a pretty wonderful place to be at 7 o'clock in the morning. But you know, there's a lot more in Pasadena than just Doc Brown's house. And as hard as it is for me to tear myself away from anything Back to the Future related, let's see if we can cruise down the street and find something new to gawk at. Or at least something we haven't seen for a while. Ooh, looks like they're filming some new movies in Pasadena out here. Even more future filming locations for us to visit. I'm okay with that. As awesome as that is though, there's something else I'd like to look at. Something that may look a little familiar to you guys. And if it doesn't, we are no longer friends. Except that we're still best friends. You know that old saying, you can't fight City Hall? That might be true. From the outside, maybe you can't fight City Hall. But from the inside, my hero Ron Swanson fights City Hall every day. From Hill Valley, California, we've made it all the way to Pawnee, Indiana. Welcome everyone to City Hall from Parks and Recreation. Next to The Office, it's maybe my favorite TV show of all time. Part Spinal Tap, part C-SPAN, Parks and Recreation. The funny thing is, on Parks and Rec, this place looks really small, but in real life, it is massive. It's one of the craziest, hugest government buildings in Southern California. And it's a pretty swanky place. I'm pretty sure that little towns like Pawnee, Indiana couldn't afford to build a city hall like this. They built this place in the roaring 20s, and even way back then, I'm pretty sure this place cost almost $1.5 million to build. Of course, in today's money, that's like $17,561 billion. I believe on the show, Parks and Recreation, they refer to this as Pioneer Hall. And in the show, like I said, it always looks kind of diminutive, kind of small, but here, this is huge. Like this right in here, this is like 2 stories. I'm pretty sure this fountain is actually 2 stories. It's taller than any McDonald's I've ever seen. It is one big place. And besides just being too big for Pawnee, the other thing that makes it markedly different from its on-screen self is that this version of City Hall has no raccoon infestation. Dude, that is so cool. It's so cool seeing this guy right up here, this little statue. He feels like an old friend. I was just thinking, there's not that many scenes where Amy Poehler, Leslie Knope is going up and down the stairs here. But there's so many shots where they zoom in on this City Hall sign right here. So that crew must have come down here like a couple of dozen times over the years, just come and zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Of course, one of the few exceptions was a scene where Leslie Knope runs from City Hall over there across the street. This is where Leslie goes from one of the most beloved buildings in Pawnee to one of the most hated. This building behind me, which in real life is the Pasadena City Permit Center, which sounds really weird. Like, come on, you don't got enough room in that giant building for a permit center? Anyway, this building right here was the Pawnee Library. Why does everyone in Pawnee hate the library so much? And not only was this the icky, dreaded library department, this is also the building where Ron Swanson's evil ex-wife Tammy works. Government gals, right in there. Just think, guys, Leslie Knope was right here. Of course, on the show, she would have hated this place. It would have been a den of evil to her, but still, she was here. They built this building in 1929 for the LA Gas and Electric course. See, this is why plaques are good. If it weren't for that plaque, how would I have known that? My favorite part about this building is when Ron Swanson comes out and Leslie's like, "Are you missing part of your mustache? Just go, go." And then they have to flee their way back to City Hall. Tom Haverford? Nah. Every time I come down here, I just keep hoping that I'll see Jerry Gergich running around somewhere, but alas, never happens. See, just look at the size of that building in real life. Look at the people down next to it. Look at that tiny little car there. And I don't know if you can see, they're really small. Look at these humans. They are very, very minuscule compared to this mighty edifice. Dude, it looks like a freaking castle or something. It wasn't just Parks and Recreation that City Hall has been in. If you look closely, it's also in the background of that great Charlie Chaplin classic, The Great Dictator, which, by the way, is a great movie. It's a Wonderful Life, the original King Kong, and anything with Charlie Chaplin. Those are my 3 favorite black and white movies. Now, as you can see here, Pasadena City Hall doesn't look exactly like the inside of Pawnee City Hall, but there do seem to be some similarities in some of these hallways outside. You kind of get some of the same vibe. Super nice view today. Look at that. Of course there's no rain now that I'm not driving in the dark. Ooh, check out this little drinking fountain. Ooh la la. It's kind of weird. You almost feel like it's like a urinal. I kind of don't want to stick my face in there now. Can't do it. Psych myself out. Okay. Time for me to go. That is so freaking awesome. Pawnee, Indiana. And of course, right across the street from City Hall, you've got these guys. 2 brothers, Mac and Jackie Robinson. Now, you guys probably know a lot about Jackie Robinson. 1947, Brooklyn Dodgers. I believe the first African-American Major League Baseball player. Broke down all the color barriers. Now memorialized with this gargantuan statue of his head. And next to him, his perhaps lesser known, but no less important brother over here, Mac Robinson. 11 years before Jackie was in the major leagues, Mac Robinson was running in the Berlin Olympics. Yeah, that's right, the 1936 Berlin Nazi-style Olympics. And Mac Robinson was there to win a silver medal. I never knew until the first time I came here that the brothers are from Pasadena. Jackie obviously moved to New York City, but Mac lived in Pasadena his whole life. Because of the rain, I can't really read the inscription very well on the side of his head. But I just think that's so cool, pulling off the silver medal as an African American at the Berlin Olympics. Heck yeah. 2 American heroes, both from Pasadena. Who knew? All right. Goodbye, Pawnee, Indiana. Goodbye, Leslie Knope. Goodbye, Ron Swanson. I have the feeling we'll be back, but ta-ta for now. Pasadena has some other treasures I'd like to uncover, so we have to make at least one more stop. Just gotta head through the fork in the road and try to make it to another filming location. A filming location that, in a way, is much less exciting than the ones we've seen so far, yet is the home of one of my ultimate cinema heroes. Somewhere tucked away in here in Pasadena, amidst all these mansions, is the home of that famed professor of archaeology, Henry Jones Jr. And I'm not kidding about the crack about the mansions. Indiana Jones must have found a lot of treasure because he lives in a nice neighborhood. As a matter of fact, these winding streets here were part of the original Busch Gardens. There's nothing left now of the old Busch Gardens that you can actually see publicly, but they did film part of Gone with the Wind over here. It would be cool to uncover some piece that you could match up with the movie, but alas, so far, no luck. Also, so far, no luck in me finding Indy's house. It's like an archaeological expedition. Oh wait, you know what? I recognize this. This is the street. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome one and all to the home of Indiana Jones. That right there is Indiana Jones's house from the movie. You guys are probably like me right now. You're probably getting so stoked, like, what? Indiana Jones's house? Heck yeah. But if you're having trouble recognizing this house from the movies, you'd be forgiven. You're probably thinking, where did I see that? Did I see that in Raiders? No, it doesn't look familiar. Did I see that in Temple of Doom? No, they were in India. Trust me, boys and girls, that is Indiana Jones's house. But no, not from The Last Crusade. This is Indiana Jones's house from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. See what I mean about being so awesome, Indy's house, but then kind of like, oh, but Crystal Skull though. It's probably very few people's favorite Indiana Jones movie, but you know what? It's still Indiana Jones. It's only in the movie for like a quick second. There's some old cars out here, and it's just a really quick establishing shot of the house. And in the movie, it just looks like this little modest house, and even standing here, it doesn't look that bad. But I'm telling you, this is a fancy house. This is one of those neighborhoods that makes me so uncomfortable that a pedestrian would look suspicious in. Most of the houses back here are behind these big giant hedges over here. These are multi-million-dollar homes. And the closer you get to this brick house over here.
And the longer you look at this and remember that you're in Southern California, the more that you realize
this is more like a mini mansion than a house.
Just look at the size of that lawn up there.
I am very tempted to dress up like Sala and go and ring the doorbell like, Indy, where is Indy, my friend?
Which is a terrible idea. Also a terrible Sala impersonation. But there it is right there. Indiana Jones's house.
I think the shot in the movie is actually closer from here. You can see up the driveway and see the old car up there.
Pretty awesome. Not gonna go up the driveway. Not gonna bother the people who live here or anything. Except for, you know, standing out here and looking like a weirdo.
But there it is. Indiana Jones.
Of course, Crystal Skull was in the 1950s, and in our timeline, Indiana Jones is probably, let's face it, dead.
Which means Shia LaBeouf probably inherited this house. Which means Mutt Williams might live here now.
True story. I saw Shia LaBeouf one day with Adam and Allie at Disneyland.
Nobody recognized him or anything. He was just standing there with his girlfriend and a guide, you know, one of the plaid guys there. And I made eye contact with him as I was walking up to see if maybe Allie could take a picture with him because she loves Shia LaBeouf.
And he just looked so sad. It was in the middle of a lot of drama, you know, for poor Shia.
So as soon as we locked eyes, I was just like, oh, okay. He had this expression like, just please leave me alone. Like, all right, it's cool.
Oh, there you have it. I don't know what else to say other than there's a little steam. I don't know if you can see there's a little steam coming off the roof right there. Kind of looks like Indy's house is on fire.
Almost seems like the perfect excuse to go ring the doorbell and see if Harrison Ford would come out.
Okay, my urge to fanboy and be like kind of a creep is starting to rise. Time to move on.
I know it's Crystal Skull. I know it's not my favorite Indiana Jones movie, but it's still, dude, it's still canon. Indiana Jones's freaking house.
Wait a minute, I forgot there's one more thing I need to do before I leave.
It's 2017, people. Come on. Fun pick.
What a fun one.
Dude, how cool must it be to like live in this house? Someone comes and knocks on your door. Hey, we want to use your house in a movie. And you're like, okay, that's cool. I could use the money, you know, fix the bricks over here.
And then they use your house in an Indiana Jones movie. So you can brag to all your friends, dude, my house, it's Indiana Jones's house.
Now, with most movie houses, that would be a bad thing because you'd have a million tourists out here lined up taking pictures like the Full House house or something like that.
Except that then, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull is kind of a disappointment. So nobody wants to stalk your house, yet at the same time, you've got the bragging rights
to say you're living in Indiana Jones's house. How epic is that?
All right, time to go.
We've already looked at a lot of epic stuff, so I was just going to cut the video right here.
You know, I don't want to keep you guys for too long today, but there's another place I gotta stop by.
It's another place that we've already been to many times.
But since I'm in the neighborhood,
which is really a stretch because actually I'm nowhere near the neighborhood, but I just want an excuse. So since I'm one city over,
I really have no excuse not to visit John Cryer's favorite place on earth.
I mean, he does ride his bike past it 1,000 times a day.
That's right, guys. We're headed for the wrong side of the tracks. Heading back to the 80s again to see
the ultimate 80s ladies house.
It's the home of Andy from Pretty in Pink.
I really love this one.
Right at the beginning of the movie, the train's going by right here.
And of course we see John Cryer as Ducky coming by on his bike over here.
Andy's little pink VW would be parked right here.
This was the home of Molly Ringwald in Pretty in Pink.
It's pretty easy to miss the symbolism of the fact that the railroad tracks are right there. And Andy's house is right here on the wrong side of the tracks.
But good filmmaking. They knew what they were doing back in the 80s.
Look at this place. It looks freaking awesome.
Now today, like I was going to say earlier, you can just type in any movie location you want, and odds are you're going to find somewhere on the internet somebody has posted something about it.
You type the address into your smartphone, you show up, bam! Siri leads you with directions the whole time.
But back when I first got my driver's license, when you couldn't check the internet from a phone, when you couldn't run around doing all that stuff, you had to come look for these places.
And this is one of the first filming locations that was never listed on the internet back then that I actually found myself.
I was very proud of myself for finding this place.
Back then, all these bushes were really grown up and you could barely see the house from the street. It looks like that's going to happen again eventually.
It makes sense. There's probably a lot of people that come and take pictures and gawk at this place. It is, after all, one of the most popular 80s movies of all time.
If there was a ghost of Ducky's teenage years, it would be haunting the front of this house, going back and forth on his bike.
Allie is one of those people who is like, she should not have been with Ducky. She should have been with Blaine. She liked Blaine.
She didn't feel that way about Ducky, but I was always one of those people who was like, no way, man, she should have got with Ducky.
Then after a while, I started to see her point. She didn't feel that way about Ducky. I guess she didn't have to be with Ducky.
But now I've reached a new conclusion. Andy should have been with neither.
Ducky wasn't the right fit, but Blaine was also a jerk. Kind of a wiener, too.
I don't care how cute Andrew McCarthy is, ladies. She shouldn't have been with Blaine.
Hey, look.
It's the feral parrots. See them up there? Over the years in LA and Orange County, so many pet parrots got loose that we actually have flocks of feral parrots flying around now. Anyway, there it is. Pretty in pink. This is the house where she would have made that terrible dress out of that cool dress that Iona gave her. What in the world were they thinking? Anyway, again, I would end the video right here. But there is another something awesome literally around the corner at this moment. Just across the street from Andy's house, through this parking lot here, just down here at the end of the walkway, is another insane, historic filming location. Geez, again with the trains? Man, it's like every 5 seconds these things come by. Check out the little pedestrian crossing arm. That's cool. Anyway, like I was saying, right around the corner is this. The Century House. Or better known to movie fans as the creepy, the possibly terrifying home of Michael Myers. This was the Myers house from the original old school movie, Halloween. From what I understand, it was located further down the road in between normal houses, just like it is in the movie, but then they moved it over here instead of it getting demolished. Now you got financial services in there, you got a State Farm agent, pretty cool. There's a little note on the door that says, hey, Halloween fans, take as many pictures as you want, be cool, but please don't peep in the window. So we're gonna stay away since right now, you know, it's business hours. But this is the house where that doctor was waiting for Michael Myers, and Michael Myers peeped out on what's-her-face? Jamie Lee Curtis. Who, by the way, is the wife of Christopher Guest. Who is Nigel from Spinal Tap. Which I referenced earlier when I said Parks and Recreation was kind of like Spinal Tap crossed with C-SPAN. Bring it full circle, people. All right. I think we've seen enough today. I've got to be heading back to Glendale so that when Allie gets out of her test, I can pick her up and we can cruise back home. I know sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours, we're supposed to be looking at a kitten, so we might have a new member of the family coming. So I'll definitely keep you in the loop. What the heck? I never noticed all these horseshoes over here. That is really bizarre. That is so random here. This business doesn't seem to have anything to do with horses that you can tell. But that's a large you know what's weird too? There's no horseshoes over here. It's just the one section over there. Right across the street from Andy's house. Anyway, don't worry. I'll keep you guys in the loop. I cannot look at this house without hearing bang, 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 bang. Awesome. Now the parrots are flying away, and I guess we better be flying away too. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Ducky or Blaine? And I'll see you guys a little later. Bye-bye. What? You guys are still here? Huh. Just in the last 5 seconds, I've driven past a location from Mad Men, a location from the movie Teen Wolf. Right around the corner is another spot from Back to the Future. This town is crazy. Oh, crazy, is it? Crazy? I know you are, but what am I? 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 Infinity. Pee-wee's house. I love that story.